Wildlands project right now. This is not something that's going to happen someday or deep into the future. This is happening right now. This is not the 2050 date they keep saying. 2050 is what they expect at full implementation. Full implementation takes a long time to get to, so that's why we are seeing them do it right now. Since then, a growing number of urban planners, environmentalists, and psychologists have argued that human beings have a fundamental need for access to nature, and that this need has grown as people have clustered amid the concrete, asphalt, and steel of cities. So not only are they putting you in these clustered trap cities, but they are socially engineering how you're going to spend your free time. They are telling you in this article that you'll be spending your free time playing out in the woods, and they're always saying that we have to have access to all these things. But the reality is, those areas they want to protect, you can go there right now and not pay a cent, but they claim that by forcing you to pay or by cutting it off completely, they are providing access. Budget hawks and landowners, so the people that are against them, they are calling budget hawks, meanwhile contend that preservation would be too costly, come with too many onerous restrictions, and threaten property rights. The rim of the valley territory that the Park Service studied circles not just the San Fernando Valley, but also the Conejo, Simi, La Crescenta, and Santa Clarita valleys in Los Angeles and Ventura counties. Advocates say adding acreage to the National Recreation Area would help preserve forests, fossil beds, and craftsman neighborhoods and provide safe pathways for bobcats and pumas, increasingly hemmed in by development and highways. So those red sections you saw on the U.S. map, the wildlands map, they're actually setting aside all that land for the animals, and they actually admit it over and over and over again. And what this means is that the animals will have more access to the land than you or I will, because humans are evil and we are the scourge of the earth and we need to be eliminated. Now look at this. We have multiple color highlights because of how bombshell all this is. The designation, they say, would make the land available for future generations of city dwellers. So anytime you see the words future generations, that is Agenda 21, because in the definition of sustainable development is the word future generations. And the definition of sustainable development is meeting the needs of the current generation without compromising the needs of future generations. And what that means is that you have to reduce your standard of living right now so that people in the future have a reduced standard of living. So future generations of city dwellers who need a break from freeway gridlock, hovering news helicopters, graffiti splattered walls, and the neon glare of Popeyes and Big Lots signs. So they're engineering where you're going to live, how you're going to live, they're engineering your transportation, and they're even going to tell you when you need to take a break, how you're going to take a break, and what you're going to be doing on that break. This is the total control grid. These are the controlled cities that I have been warning you about for a while now. But proponents of property rights and public use of public lands, so there it is right there. They're saying proponents of public use of public lands, but they claim if they take the land from the public, that will give more access. And they counter that the proposal could limit their ability, for example, to extract oil and minerals and drive or bicycle off-road. Well, in terms of driving or going off-roading, yes, you will have less access because they will tell you when you are allowed to do that, whereas right now you can do it anytime you want. So here we have the Agenda 21 Sierra Club. Some Sierra Club members, he said, are so intent on returning land to some imagined pristine state that they want people to stay home and watch nature on TV. I think it's asinine, he said, to turn this country back into what it was a long time ago. Then, here's the big lie. So far, the public has weighed in heavily for putting as much rim of the valley land as possible under the National Park Service umbrella, according to Rep. Schiff's office. So the big, giant, globalist environmentalist that wants to protect all the land from you is claiming that there is huge support to protect as much of the land as humanly possible, as Jerry Brown would say. Anything we can do to make sure people have contact with green spaces on a regular basis is going to improve their health. So because we have the collectivist, communist Obamacare system, now it is the duty of the government to keep us healthy. And they are telling us that their solution to us having more contact with green spaces is to lock us up in controlled cities when they let us out when they feel like it. But guess what? In the distant future, long far away from now, 50, 60, 70 years from now, it will be like Hunger Games and you won't be allowed to go out into the green areas. Making that more accessible for urban kids in particular and their families, he said, is really important. And that's what this is really all about. These are the racist policies of our government. They say that we have to reverse everything that we've seen in the past and that the white people now have to suffer, and the urban people, the non-whites, the minorities as they call them, because there is a federal definition of the term minority, they get access to everything. So in the future, whites who can have it for free right now will pay to go into these parks, and the urban people, the minorities, they can get it free right now as well, but the government wants to arrange for that free to happen right now so that other groups can pay. Don't believe me? Here's the proof that our government is pushing racist policies.
I may be white, I may not be low income, but the fact of the matter is that doesn't mean that everything has to be distributed equally and evenly, because there is such a thing as structural disinvestment and structural racism, and this is what this plan is trying to do. It's trying to contradict centuries of disinvestment.
Earlier in the video, that man you saw, who I said ran the largest planning organization in the country, the one who showed you what transit-oriented development looks like, that was a SCAG Environmental Justice Workshop. SCAG is the planning agency that he oversees, and this is the kind of garbage they are putting out there. They call this stuff environmental justice, and there's whole videos on my channel showing how it's all about the minorities. We have to cater to all their needs, give them access, and it doesn't matter what non-minorities think. Now, this is the first part of the paper I showed you, and I want to show you this one more time and show you what it really means. Democratic Rep. Adam B. Schiff, backed by a broad coalition of proponents. So who are these proponents? I guarantee you, if you go out and ask people on the street if they know anything about this, not a single person will tell you that they know what you are talking about. But who are all these proponents? Well, I'm going to show you who all these proponents are. This is a clip from that same lecture of the guy who was showing you how he's building the Wildlands Project. He showed us where he gets all his funding from to protect the land. And these are probably Adam Schiff's proponents as well.
Amazingly successful campaign so far. These are some of the banks that we've met with that typically would fund this project.
Surprise, surprise, who would have thought that the biggest banks in the world are the ones behind the funding of the Agenda 21 Wildlands, protecting the land from you? I'm sure they're also behind the funding of all the big buildings we are seeing going up in Southern California. This is very real. Of course the banks are behind it, and that should tell you right there that this is evil, because the banks want you living in controlled cities where you are trapped where you live, where movement is restricted. But we can fight this back, and if this is the first time you've ever been on my channel, watch more of my videos and you will see how we are fighting this back. In my area and out in the Inland Empire, we have had massive victories against this tyranny, and those victories can continue continue if we keep at it and more of you try to help us. So please share this video. This video is of critical importance. They're actually showing us the map of how people are going to live in the trapped cities. That's all for now. Grino61 signing out.